Welcome to ElevatePod, where we elevate your mindset, we inspire your spirit, and ignite your leadership journey. This podcast is brought to you by Elevate Leadership Services. My name is Pearl.
And I'm Chirwa.
We are the co-founders of Elevate Leadership Services and hosts of ElevatePod. The ElevatePod is dedicated to inspiring and empowering listeners, focusing on minorities and immigrants by offering valuable tools, resources, pathways to foster personal and professional development.
Thank you, Pearl. And today we are delighted to have Elita Mazyanga Chirwa,
Yes.
who is going to share her practical experiences and her wisdom on mindset and mental health. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the incredible power of mindset and its profound influence on our mental health. Mindset and mental health are two forces that shape how we see the world, how we rise from obstacles or setbacks, and how we show up for ourselves every day. Our mindset is the lens through which we interpret life. And when our mental health is nurtured, that lens becomes clear, more compassionate, and more courageous. Sometimes our greatest barriers are invisible, our thoughts and our beliefs. But by shifting our mindset, we can unlock resilience, we can have hope, and we will have greater well-being. Our mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. This is a quote by Unknown. So today we are joined to discuss the topic that matters to each and every one of us. And Elitas Mazyanga Chirwa is going to be the one diving in this topic with a lot of questions that we're going to have. But before I ask her a question, whether she can add some, let me introduce her. Elitas, also in short known as Mazi, and her pronouns are she, her, and hers. She is a California Board of Behavioral Science registered Associate Professional Clinical Counselor, abbreviated as APCC, and a Certified Life Coach, also abbreviated as CLC, from the Orange County, California. She holds a master's degree in marriage, family, child therapy counseling. She has 8 years of experience in counseling individuals and couples. Her work experience is very diverse, working with different cultures and populations. She works with couples which include monogamous, polygamous, polyamorous, and hypergamous. I think she's going to explain all those words,
Yes.
big words, because I think we need to understand what the difference is.
Right.
Yes. Mazi also runs her own private practice that can be found at the www.maziempowerment.com. She has a wonderful partner that she has been with for 2 years. And great news is that she is actually getting married November 1st in Sacramento, California. Congratulations, Mazi.
Thank you.
Mazi is also a Rotarian with the Rotary of Fair Oaks, and she served the club as the president from 2022 to 2023. She is the first Black and single female to become the Rotarian Club of Fair Oaks president since 1945. That's a milestone.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you would like to add, Mazi?
Thank you so much for the wonderful, flattering introduction. I think I will be speaking more as we go along. I think you have really given the audience who I really am and the work that I do. I will continue to expand more on what you said, especially with my couples, because people always ask me how I do it, and it's and I'm just gonna. I hopefully I'll be able to share my passion for the work that I do in mental health.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you.
Again, welcome to our podcast. We're so glad to have you. And to our listeners, welcome to Elevate Pod. This is a space where real conversations lead to real growth. Today, we're exploring two topics that are deeply connected and are personal. This is mindset and mental health. So, to our listeners, let me ask you this. What thoughts are you feeding your mind with today? Because what we think, we become. As James Allen wrote, he said, "You are today where your thoughts have brought you, and you will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you." So, mindset isn't just about positivity, it's not about toxic positivity, it's about building resilience, it's about learning to sit with our pain, speak our truth, and still believe in better days. Mental health is not a destination in itself, it's a journey. It's the way we tend to our emotional, psychological, and spiritual well being. And it deserves just as much attention as our goals and our achievements. So remember these words from Maya Angelou: "Nothing can dim the light that shines from within." Even when life feels heavy, your light is still there. So, wherever you're tuning in from today, whether you're thriving, whether you're surviving, or you're somewhere in between, this episode is for you. So, let's dive in. My first question is, how would you define mindset in the context of mental health?
Thank you for having me. Wow. I mean, first of all, I just want to acknowledge all the words that you used, all those buzzwords that you used. We're starting with mindset, growth, and sitting in certain spaces. That's so super duper important. Being courageous. I was writing down some of those words because I was super impressed with the words. So mindset to me, as somebody who's been in the mental health world for a good 3 years, and when we talk about minorities, the first thing that comes to mind is stigma, right? And cultural acceptance and understanding mental health and having the mindset to really understand what mental health is in the context of who we are as minorities, of who we are as different cultures. Because really, mental health came from a it came from a culture that's not a non-minority culture. So it's taken us a long time to really, first of all, understand it and embrace it. I still have relatives to this day that say, "What do you do for work? You talk to people and you get paid to just talk to people?" Well, yeah, but it's more than that, right? Yes, I'm talking to people, but it's really more than that. It's like, "Oh, yeah, that's your job. That's all. You have a master's degree just to talk to people. That's it." Right? Oh, now you're going to go for your doctorate just to talk to people? Right? So mindset is really shifting that culture, that normative understanding what mental health really is in the context of our minority as minorities and people that are in the diaspora, for example, being the first generation American. What does that mean? So it's really important for me when I do my work, and I make sure I really focus on the diversity of my work for that same reason, trying to shift that mindset, to understand that it's okay. It's okay to deal with mental health like everybody else. It doesn't mean that you are, crazy, right? It's just that we might have mental health challenges, some which may not be permanent. So it's okay to seek help. So when we talk about mindset, we're really wanting to shift that dynamic of saying, let's get rid of that stigma that's saying, you know what, I can't see a therapist. I can't go to a therapist because, everybody think, well, something's wrong with me. No, you're just wanting to get better, just the same way you see a medical doctor. The only difference is it's the brain that you're trying to seek help with, right? So my perception of mindset when it comes to mental health is really dealing with that diversity of that stigma that we have, that we've grown over time, whether it's culturally or with our spiritual beliefs, that we can't seek help. Yes, we can seek help, and yes, we do want to include our spirituality as we seek help. So understanding that spirituality matters in our mindset of thinking about mental health. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yes, you
Yes.
did. And I know Chirwa there has questions babbling, but just to
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I
just to
think.
touch on, piggyback on some profound things that you said. Here's a quote by Mariska. She says, "Healing takes time, and asking for help is a courageous step."
Yes.
Now, how do you help people get to such a mindset of knowing that they can ask for help, especially in our culture, in our, minority groups? How do
Right.
you get people to know that it's okay to
Yes.
ask for help?
So when I was a grad student, I was very courageous. I gave my first speech in Texas. I traveled to Texas. The church invited me there to speak about mental health. And it's a minority church. It was predominantly Black church in Arlington, Texas. And one thing that I said, which I remember to this day, and at the time I was a grad student, I really didn't know or understand what I was saying. But now I get it now that I've been in practice for a couple of years now. One thing I said is God heals us, right? I'm a Christian. I believe in God, right? And so God heals us, but He may not heal us, all of us at the same time, because healing can be a journey. Healing is a journey, right? So it's okay to seek help as you get your healing. It's okay to pop that pill as God is healing you, right? So God may he heals us miraculously. Sometimes He may heal us through help. So the same way we go to see a doctor is the same way we go to see a therapist, such as myself, right? And at the end of the day, we know who the real healer is, right? We know that it's God. I believe in my spirituality. I believe that the ultimate healer is God, right? But I know that the people that I need to help to get to the healing journey, that may not have the same spiritual beliefs as I do. So that's where I come in as a therapist to say, hey, let's talk about your healing journey. But I'm also super duper encouraging you to really focus on your spirituality as well. I'm not imposing my religion. I do not impose my religion in any work that I do. If the client is willing to speak about God, then I come in. But if they're not, if they don't want to speak about God, they don't believe in God, I do not impose my spirituality to them, right? But I do share, I do want to be part of this healing journey with them, their mental health healing with them. Um, so so yes, the quote you just shared was healing is a journey. It is a journey. Some people heal quicker, they heal miraculously, because some God will heal you even before you even say amen.
Mm.
Because
Yes.
He is who He is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, and so, and sometimes He will say, you need to, even in the Bible, He gave examples. Oh, you need to go wash yourself, and and do things like that. That's the same principle as coming to see a therapist. So we need to understand as minorities, it's okay to change our mindset and say it's okay for me to see a therapist. It's okay to see a therapist. And in the process of seeing a therapist, but you do want to get a good therapist, though. Not you want to get a therapist that's the right fit for you.
Oh, yeah.
A therapist that understands diversity, equity, inclusion, all that, right? That's also that's an important piece to the work, right? Having that connection with your therapist and having, and if you build that trust and you feel, hey, I can share my healing journey, yes, absolutely do that. I want you to change that mindset and say it is okay to see a therapist.
So you have to be comfortable
You have to be
as you are
comfortable.
healing, I think. And if you're
Exactly.
not, then find what works for you.
Absolutely.
All right.
And you have to understand that with mental health, you know, the medical world, you can physically see a wound. Oh my God, Mazi, you have a wound right there. Oh
Correct.
my
Correct.
God, you're actually limping. Oh my God, how are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
But with mental health, nobody sees it.
No.
We carry that journey.
Yeah.
We sit in that space
Yes.
hurting, and nobody sees it. How you doing? Oh, I'm great. How you doing? Oh, I'm good. Oh, how you do? But I'm really hurting, and
Yeah.
I really need to speak to someone, right?
Yeah.
But because culturally and our mindsets we've not been made comfortable to be okay with seeking help for our minds. So we sit and marinate in that space when we can easily just reach out, right? So my message today is changing our mindset so we can reach out to get that mental health support.
Yes, and I think that leads me to my next question because we're talking about mindset. So, in your experience, what role do you see the positive or growth-oriented mindset play in managing mental health challenges? Because I think that's what, because you can have the mental challenges, but people go through it in a different way. So, how is growth mindset helping people to
Right,
attack or to handle the challenges?
right. First of all, I'm going to talk about growth in two different aspects.
Okay.
As a therapist and also speaking for clients based on my work, right?
Okay.
So for me, first of all, I also had to grow. My mindset had to grow, had to change. I struggled. It wasn't an easy journey like, oh, yeah, I got my master's degree, I'm good. They just give you general knowledge in school. But, when it comes to the work, now you have to do the work. And coming from a Zambian culture, a conservative Christian culture, and specializing in what I specialized in, which was LGBTQ trans population. That was my first uh, culture shock and mindset, right? It shifted my mindset. Because at first I was like, okay, how do I work with this population from my background to this population, right? And so that was growth for me, and being able to support this population. And that was my, like I said, what the foundation of my specialty was LGBTQ trans. And that's how I ended up working with polyamorous couples. Like, what is polyamorous? I've never heard about what is polyamory. I know polygamy from Africa.
Mhm.
We know polygamy,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
It's the man having several, partners, sister wives, and culturally Africans practice polygamy. I knew that. Polyamory, what is that? Right? Oh, it's two primary partners who have other partners. Oh, okay.
All
Right?
right.
So, so I as a therapist had to grow and understanding that. And I've also worked with juvenile sex offenders, which was clinical work for me. Oh, my youngest was 12. Okay. There's a Caucasian American, there's Hispanic, and there's African American. It was clinical work for me until an African kid showed up. Mindset, growing my mindset.
Changing how
So
you think.
I've done work that also helped me grow. And
Changing how you think.
changing how I think, and understanding the professional, the clinical boundaries, and dealing with counter transference issues. Counter transference, basically transferring what I think about the client to the client, and transference is what the client thinks about me. And there were clients who said, no, I don't want to work with Mazi, I don't want to work with Elitas, she doesn't understand my culture, and being okay with that, right? All part of growth, all part of mindset, that you know what, I may not help this particular individual or this couple, but I might help the next couple, and and now that is the mindset I wanted to talk about when it comes to clinical work and growing as a therapist myself. Now, the other mindset I wanted to talk about when it comes to minorities is, again, it's almost like beating the dead horse, but I wanted to still go back to what I earlier said, is just being okay with seeking help. Because our biggest thing is like, I would meet, a minority client would say, "Oh, Mazi, I'm okay. Oh, how are you doing? How's your sleep? Oh, it's fine. I'm good. When was the last time you ate? No, I don't know. Not being open, not embracing the process of their healing journey because of not trusting the process or trusting the journey of healing, and so I wanted to talk about those two different mindsets. Like we need both to grow. Both mindsets need to grow, from the professional side of work and from the recipient side of work.
Wow, you just said something that leads
Wow.
me to my next question. They say you may not be able to control your thoughts, but you can control your response to those thoughts. Now, that being said, can someone simply think their way out of anxiety or depression? Where do you draw the line between mindset work and professional help?
Right. So I thought, I thank you for asking that question, because when I read that, when it comes to that question, I thought I saw that question. I'm like, wait a minute. That the way how if I can paraphrase it, how do you can you think your way out with your mindset out of a situation that concerns mental health? It's almost like saying, can you heal yourself from a medical issue, right? So in that context, I would say spirituality could help. Having faith that I'll get better, but at the same time, seeking that support from maybe spiritual leaders. But mental health on its own, I think it would be, some people have done it cold turkey, maybe by reading or maybe by joining clubs or staying in positive spaces, right? So it's still not the same thing as understanding how you got better. If you got better, um, so let's say you were depressed and you joined the running team. You joined the running team, right? Oh, so I have to wake up in the morning and go run. I'm gonna hike. I have to hike because now we're running a half marathon in like 6 weeks or whatever, right? But in that process, you're really attacking depression without knowing. So for me, I I am seeing what really happened to your mind, because I know that you attack depression using an intervention of changing negative with positive, with positive skills. There is something called cognitive behavioral therapy. You're changing your negative thoughts, replacing them with positive ones. You did that without even knowing that you were using an intervention, right? So in cognitive behavioral therapy, when you hear a therapist say, "Oh, I'm a CBT therapist," or "I've done cognitive behavioral therapy," all they're really saying is, the minute you get triggered and you have a negative thought, you catch it and replace it with a positive one. You know what? I feel like sleeping, but you know what? I have a marathon in 6 weeks, so I better get up and run. You just did CBT without even knowing that you did that. So I don't think there's a way you can heal. You can without understanding that you're actually doing work. You're actually doing the work. Because even in mental health, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. If it's depression, if it's anxiety, you have to do the work. And here's an example of how to do the work without maybe even speaking to a therapist. But speaking to a therapist, they'll actually give you these tools, what we call skills, or coping skills of how to do it. You probably already had them in your toolbox. And the therapist will say, you know what do you like doing? You know what? I like to play golf. When was the last time you played golf? 3 years ago. Oh, because I'm so depressed. I don't. Okay, maybe you could try playing golf once a month, and then you find that you like it. Dang, I like golf. I've always liked golf. And then you start doing the work. It takes work to do that, right? So that's shifting the mindset. But really, it makes it easier when you see a therapist or a clinician, and you talk about really your challenges. It'll give you direction. It's at least you have a roadmap to get to where you want to. You probably already have the tools already, but somebody's just reminding you of the tools that you have. So that's part of shifting your mindset.
So it's really having a guide that it's like getting somebody to bounce ideas with,
Exactly.
and then that consistency of staying on course. Because when you're by yourself, you think I'm okay, and then something triggers again, then you go down the hill. With sort of counseling or somebody who is guiding you, then you have
Yes.
somebody to talk to, and I think maybe in the way you counsel is where maybe you can ask what happened, and then the person starts telling the story and realizes, oh my God, I did this again, and how can I improve? So I'm happy to hear that, because I think each and every one of us, I think now and again, you just need somebody to bounce back ideas, and then
Right.
hear yourself. And when you do, then you say, maybe I stop there.
Exactly. So that's
Accountability.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many moving parts to this work.
Yes.
Sometimes it would be like, Dr. Lifano, I don't know why I do the things I do.
Yeah.
Apostle Paul in the Bible says the things that I don't want to do, those are the ones I do. The ones that I need to do, I
I
don't.
don't do them.
Do that. Right?
Uh,
Same thing. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I don't want to hang out with just doing nothing, just doing crazy. I don't want to do this, but I end up going there, right? So I don't want to, I'm always dating the wrong guys. I'm always dating not knowing that it could be childhood trauma. So this is where I come in,
Okay.
right? As
Yeah.
a therapist. So everybody else will just say, oh, I don't want to hang out with that person. No, she's just bad. She's all they see are symptoms. I go beyond symptoms. I see what's triggering the symptoms. Because people, they easily see symptoms. In our society, they easily say, oh my gosh, well, she's always drinking. She's a habit. She's always drinking. Oh my gosh, not knowing that's actually, that's the way of masking a symptom or a hurt that happened at one point in life. So one of the things that I've specialized in is trauma work, because I've been through trauma myself. So understanding that and being able to, I can pick trauma. I've worked with people that are dealing with couples that are dealing with childhood trauma, individuals that are dealing with childhood trauma, and it's a thing. It is a thing, and it manifests. You find I'm dealing with a couple. My wife doesn't want me to hug her. I don't know. I want to hug my wife, but when it's actually childhood trauma, and he doesn't know that. He just thinks she's just being, unloving or whatever it is, right? So, and that's why working with a professional matters, because you want to save your relationships, you want to save your families, you want to stop some of those generational hurts from happening, right? So, and that's how you catch them. And oh, you know what? Even my auntie had to deal with that. You know what? She never really liked. And then you see that some of that are generational stuff, and we know that it's all, um, and so again, we have to change that mindset of saying, as minorities, as people in the diaspora, we got to see a therapist, but we got to see a therapist that understands us, a therapist who's been, migration is traumatic. Nobody ever
Yes.
told us that. Nobody ever told. Who told us that? Nobody.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
were just
yeah,
excited.
yeah.
Oh, I'm going to the United States. Oh my God.
And
Nobody told us
everything will be good.
everything will be great. Oh my goodness. We didn't know the trauma that we're going to go through.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. And I think as you continue to talk about yourself and how your experience actually is helping others because you can identify that.
Right.
Um, so if we're talking about yourself, you can say that there are some daily habits that you have to do to help you build that mental resilience.
Right.
So can you spell some of those little things that you have to do as a person that's either going through the mental health or trauma, which can be on the other side? What
Right.
are some of the things that you can give to our audience that are going through maybe certain challenges for them
Yes.
to be able to continue to hold on and hang on and and move on in a positively well?
Right. Thank you for that great question. I want to speak to the diaspora community.
Mhm.
I want us to change our mindset of how we view other families, especially if they're going through challenges. Instead of gossiping,
Mhm.
let's change that mindset for a second and say, maybe there's some hurt underneath that, right? Maybe there's some hurt that's underneath that. We don't know that. We because we've never really embraced mental health or really understood it per se, whether professionally or not. We are quick to have conversations that can even be more traumatizing than the traumatic situation somebody's dealing with.
True.
And we re-traumatize a person that's already traumatized, right? Which is super dangerous, right? It's almost like somebody has a wound, and then you keep poking at it.
Keep
How
poking it.
is it going to heal? Right? Us in the diaspora community, we're now dealing, especially those of us who are in the first world and in North America or in the UK, um, or in Europe, we are dealing with different things. For example, we never had to deal with drug addiction. And now we have kids that are using. Like, how do we deal with that? The first thing is, oh, I'm gonna whip you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna, not knowing that that's actually creating a situation even worse, a bad situation worse, right? But we don't know any better. Nobody told us that that was an addiction. We didn't have to deal with that, so we think our kids may not get exposed. We just think they'll grow up the same way we did, right?
Mhm.
Right? Not knowing that they might experience a different lifestyle from us, and that the way we were disciplined may not work, might not work. Maybe having the conversation, and I'll give you an example of myself. When I was married, my first husband was white, Caucasian American. And when my daughter came from Zambia, he would say, when it comes to discipline, he goes, come down, let's talk and have a conversation for a second, right? Let's have I don't have time for a conversation. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm doing that. And who do you think my daughter will love better?
The one who gives the conversation.
Right? Two different parenting styles. But we have to understand that in the culture that we're in, there's consequences to all our behaviors too. Like if we try to touch that child, there'll be consequences. We might not want to do that, right? We might have to learn and adjust some things. So again, talking about changing our mindset and growth, and just, learning how to sit in those spaces while finding the right help or waiting for the right moment. Because even at that time, we never knew what the right moment was. We just wanted to have a conversation there and then. What about if they were not ready to have a conversation? They're not ready to change. What are you going to do? You scream and yell, it's not going to make any difference. Change
Wow.
only happens when somebody wants to change. If they're not ready for change, go play golf, go play basketball, something, because that change you're trying to enforce is not going to happen. It will happen in somebody's own time and in their own will. Again, this is also personal growth for me. I've had to grow as a therapist, as a mother, and I've had to transition to understand these spaces that I didn't. I think 10 years ago they'll be like, what? What did you just say? No, that doesn't make sense, right? But because of the experience I've gained over time and working with parents and working with other kids and working with a lot of folks, in California, by the way, they want you to have 3,000 direct hours before you can even get licensed. That's a lot of hours. Other states, I think, I don't know, it's less. But California is one of the toughest states where you have to have at least 3,000 hours. It's a lot of hours. It's a couple of years, right? And they do it for that same reason, to see this growth that you're hearing. Because 4 years ago, I don't think you would have heard this from me. I would have been, what? I don't know. Let's do it. What is she doing? What did she say? Right? Right? Real talk, all right? And honesty and transparency, right? And having that so that I can help other parents as they help me. I'm also helping because we're still a village at the
It's a
end of the
growth.
day.
Yeah. No, it's
Right,
it's
right.
wonderful
Wow.
to hear that. It's really it's sometimes we don't realize that even as you are for you are a therapist as well as a coach. So you partner those two things, you intertwine them. So you are growing and they are growing as you are helping them. So that's really powerful. So I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Right. Wow. You've shared very, very interesting nuggets there. So much, so loaded.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be having another session on this. I feel like
Yes,
we're
yes, yes.
just barely scratching
Yes.
the surface. Earlier you said something very important. With physical pain, someone can see you limping, they can look at your face, and as you squeeze your face because something hurts, and that might offer some help. Now, when we're
Right.
dealing with things regarding mindset, mental health, and because of our culture, we have learned to mask it, and unfortunately mask it very well.
Yeah.
But there are many signs, if you ask me. We can see the signs if we care to read in between the lines. And I feel that we have given those signs different names and not see them for what they really are. Sometimes that's the cry for help. And we choose to address that sign, address that symptom. Maybe someone reacts a certain way, but we are quick to address that reaction without really digging and finding out what's behind that reaction. And I believe that's where you come in. And my next question, which I feel like you have addressed, so I'm going to expand it a little bit. I was going to ask, what role does the community, culture, and our upbringing play in shaping our mindset around mental health? I know you've touched on that a few times. So I'll extend it a little bit and ask, how do we unlearn those things,
Right.
unlearn those habits, all of that experience that we have created from the community, from our culture, from our upbringing? How do we unlearn that
Right.
with regard to mental health and mindset shift?
Absolutely. This is where this podcast comes in. This is so important. This podcast is answering your question because we're having conversations about that. We're educating each other, we're informing each other. What we may not have known, now we can know a little bit. Now we can share a little bit. So we have to have these conversations in safe spaces where people don't feel judged, where people feel comfortable. So they might be listening to us right now and saying, you know what, I've done that before. Yeah, you've done, but we're not judging you. What we're saying is let's heal together. This is a healing journey. Let's do it together, right? So this podcast is one of the ways that we can educate each other, right? We're changing our mindset, we're elevating each other so that we can grow and heal from that, right? Understanding that those conversations we used to laugh at, maybe we were hurting someone. Now we know better.
Yeah.
This person, we go out to an event, they're not dressed, they're unkempt, or they are, instead of gossiping, oh my God, why is her hair like that? Why is you not knowing that that was actually a symptom?
Correct.
That was actually a super big symptom of what's really happening. Maybe it could be a domestic violence situation. We don't talk about that. We hide that, right? As in Zambia, we say you admire a person's rooftop, you really don't know what's going on.
Contents.
Oh my God, my neighbor has a red roof. Oh my God. Look, I really love her roof, but you don't know what's really happening underneath there. That's where I come in, right? And even so that's why my transparency, my sharing my credentials and who I am and my expertise is a requirement by the government. Right? So people know who's really really helping them, and then who's really having this conversation, right? So again, this podcast bringing more and more therapists, diverse therapists. You can bring me. I'm a fellow Zambian American. I'm a fellow, I'm in the diaspora with you, and I'm also. But there might be another therapist that may not be a member of the diaspora, but is a minority member, that might have a different aspect of having the same conversation. So having this same conversation on platforms like this will help us, right? And also, one thing that I'm noticing, having those conversations at churches, at our churches, I see that a couple of pastors, including my own pastor, talks about anxiety and depression. And I'm like, yes. And Jesus talked about anxiety. You cast out your heavy burdens. Heavy burdens. Isn't that anxiety? Like, right? Isn't that depression? Was Jesus talking about mental health before we even knew it was mental health?
Yeah.
Where were you? Where were we? How did we miss
Mm.
that?
Yeah.
Jesus
Uh-huh.
talked about mental health and we didn't even get it.
Yes.
Wow.
No,
Right?
we
What
are
was
running out of time. I think we have a hot topic here, which is helping all of us. I think we need this. We need to have part two, isn't it, Pal?
Oh, definitely.
We
We
need part
need a
two
part two. We
because
need a part
what you
two.
are saying is just awesome. But before I go to my closing, I would like you to say the last word that you'd like our audience to think about if they're going through any process, and what they should do so that at least they can start healing, they can start that journey, which we all need.
Yes. Thank you again for the opportunity and having me on this podcast. I want to dedicate this podcast to a fellow therapist. She passed away last year. We were very close. We were three of us. One of the therapists will be on my wedding lineup as the chief bridesmaid. Andrea Macmillan. We were the three of us. Were three minority therapists. And Andrea loved therapy. She passed away from ovarian cancer right before she got a very good job with the state, with the county, I think Sacramento County in California. And so she didn't get to enjoy what she loved. One thing Andrea always said is seek help, seek mental health help. And so as I speak about Andrea, I want to speak her words that she always said, as minorities, we need to seek help. Let's change our perception, our mindsets about mental health by attacking that stigma, by being okay to not being okay, but seeking help, whether it's through our churches, but also through therapy. because God heals us. He heals us, but He can also heal us through therapists as well.
Through people. Amen. Thank you
If you
very
can
much.
share how
Thank
people
you
can
so
find
much.
you.
Yeah, you really touched so many things, and you were just dropping so many good things, so many much information that we all need. Because we all go through, we have the ups and downs as human beings. So in
How
close,
do people reach you, Elitas?
yes,
Okay, so you
yeah,
can, thank you for asking. So you can reach me. I'm in private practice through in a nonprofit called Open Path. I also have my own private practice. You can reach me through www.mazyempowerment.com, and or you can call me. My number is pretty open. It's the same number that I've had for like, I don't know, 15, 20 years. 916-662-4480. If you go to the website, you will see my email out there, mazy.chirwa at mazyempowerment.com. So you can also reach me there. But yeah, just reach out. I absolutely love to love helping my folks when it comes to mental health. No, I'm not being prejudiced. I help everybody, but I want to say I'm also available to our community for that reason.
wonderful. No, thank you so much, Mazi.
You're welcome.
Yeah, mindset
Mindset.
and mental health. So, to our audience, your mindset, as you heard, determines your reality. Shift it, and you shift your entire life. Seek help, and you heal yourself in a way that can be profound. As we wrap up today's episode, remember that your mindset is a powerful tool for mental health. Small changes in how you think can lead to profound improvements in how you feel and respond to challenges. Be gentle with yourself on this journey because growth takes time. However, it calls for you to be consistent in whatever you're doing. Again, thank you, Mazi, for inundating us with so many, so many, so many nuggets. And to our listeners that would like to cultivate a healthier and more resilient mindset, Mazi is there for you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Your mental health is your lifelong journey, and a shift in mindset can be the catalyst for lasting change. So embrace your progress, be patient with yourself, and know that your mindset can transform challenges into opportunities. Until next time, take care of your mind, nurture your well being. Remember, it's okay to seek help.
Yes.
We hope to see you on our next episode. Again, thank you for joining us on this journey to elevate and inspire. Until next time, lead with purpose and grow with passion.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Thank you.